Hello everyone, this is Prasanjit Ghosh and welcome to the Masterful Master. Today we'll be talking about the Age of Revival. The century and a half following the death of Chaucer from 1400 to around 1550 is the most volcanic period in the history of English literature. Many political and cultural changes happened during this period. The Long War of France and the Civil War of Roses distracted attention from books and poetry. The Reformation in the latter part of this period filled men's mind with religious questions. The revival of learning set scholars and literary men to an eager study of classics. This age is noticeable for its intellectual progress, for the introduction of printing, the beginning of Reformation, and the growth of political power. Rise of woodblock printing gave rise to printing. By 1450 AD, Johannes Gutenberg used metal instead of woodblocks. This became known as movable type machine, since the metal block letters could be moved around to create new words and sentences. The printing press was invented by Johannes Gutenberg. Though printing reached Europe in 1450, but it was brought to England by William Caxton in 1476. During the early stages of Christianity, churches were mainly Catholic. Catholic churches are the purest form of Christianity. Practices are quite rigid. The Protestant Reformation was a movement against these Catholic churches. This movement was started by Martin Luther. Another Reformation movement in Switzerland was started by John Calvin. Calvin was responsible for spreading another form of Protestantism called Calvinism. The Wars of Roses were a series of civil wars fought for the throne of England between two competing royal families, the House of York and the House of Lancaster. The House of York was represented by White Rose and the House of Lancaster was represented by Red Rose. After the Wars of Roses ended came the Tudor dynasty. Both royalties fought and there was no result, and thus the War of Roses came to an end. Henry VII was a distant cousin of the House of Lancaster. He became the first Tudor king. He was the last king of England to win his throne on the field of battle. He healed the rift between Lancaster and York by marrying a daughter from the House of York. Henry VII brought peace into England by introducing government reforms and increasing royal control. He improved infrastructure of England, which were devastated by years of war. He was a lover of knowledge and sent scholars to Italy to learn Greek and Latin. Henry VIII is best known for his 6 marriages. He appointed himself as the supreme head of the church. Henry dissolved convents and monasteries. Henry VIII is also known as the father of Royal Navy as he invested heavily in navy. To satisfy his desires and to secure a male heir, Henry married 6 times. First, he married Catherine of Aragon. Catherine was unable to give birth to a male heir. She gave birth to a daughter named Mary. In 1536, Henry married Anne Boleyn, who gave birth to Elizabeth I. Jane Seymour died in 1537, shortly after giving birth to future Edward VI. Henry wed Anne of Cleves. Catherine Howard was his 5th wife. Henry's last wife was Catherine Parr. After the death of Henry VIII, Edward VI became the king and was in reign for only 6 years and died at a very early age. Henry VI was a Protestant. Only Catherine of Aragon was Catholic, rest all the wives were Protestant. After Edward VI, the throne was ascended by Mary I. She was daughter of Catherine of Aragon. She reinstilled Catholicism. She executed the Protestants and caused too much bloodshed. This is the reason why Mary I earned the name Bloody Mary. In 1558, upon Mary's death, Elizabeth succeeded her half-sister to the throne. Elizabeth's reign came to be known as the Golden Age of England. She allowed both Protestants and Catholics to live in harmony. Elizabeth I was called the Virgin Queen, Gloriana or Good Queen Bess. Elizabeth was the last of the 5 monarchs of the House of Tudor. Following are the list of few Bibles which came around this period. We have the Wycliffe's Bible followed by the Gutenberg's Bible. Tyndale's Bible talks about the New Testament. Miles Coverdale's Bible is a complete Bible which was published in the year 1535. Then we have the Geneva Bible which has verse division. Bishop's Bible was published in the year 1568, followed by the James Bible in the year 1612. Then we have the most recent ones. We have the Revised Bible and the Holzmann's Standard Bible which was published in the year 2004. Erasmus or Erasmus of Rotterdam was a Catholic priest and a social critic. He was also a teacher and a theologian. Erasmus is considered to be the greatest humanist of Northern Renaissance. Erasmus was given the title of Prince of Humanists and has also been called as the crowning glory of the Christian humanists. He was there in the Catholic Church as a priest, but he knew that Catholic churches are corrupt. He, unlike Martin Luther, wanted to adopt a new way where traditional faith can be respected, along with the recognition of Pope's authority. He rejected Luther's emphasis on faith alone. Erasmus's Praise of Folly is an essay written in Latin in 1509 and was published in the year 1511. This work was inspired by previous works of Italian humanist Faustino Perissuali's Illa di Trionfo Stultitiae. Praise of Folly is a bold satire that pokes fun at foolishness of mankind. This essay ends with a straightforward statement of Christian ideal. No man is wise at all times or is without his blind side. Thomas More is the most important writer during the Age of Revival. He was an English lawyer, a social philosopher, an author, a statesman, and a noted Renaissance humanist. More was counselor to Henry VIII. He opposed Protestant Reformation. Thomas More opposed Henry VIII's separation from the Catholic Church and refused to acknowledge Henry as the supreme head of England. He also rejected Henry VIII's marriage to Catherine of Aragon. After refusing to take oath of supremacy, he was convicted of treason and was executed. Just before his execution on July 6, 1535, he told the crowd of spectators, "I die as the king's true servant, but God's first." More was the subject of a play called A Man for All Seasons, which was also made into a movie in 1966. Sir Thomas More was the first person to write of a utopia, a word used to describe a perfect imaginary world. More's book imagines a complex, self-contained community set on an island in which people share a common culture and a way of life. He coined the word utopia from a Greek word autopos, meaning no place or nowhere. It was upon the almost identical Greek word utopos, which means a good place. This book was published in the year 1516 and was written in Latin. More's Utopia was further translated into English in the year 1551. Some of the works by William Tyndale are Tyndale's Bible, Practice of Prelates, and Obedience of a Christian Man. Richard Tottle is the one who is the official publisher of the first printed anthology of English poetry. He was an English publisher and influential member of legal community. He ran his business from a shop located at Temple Bar in London. Following are the list of works published by Tottle. Well, that's all for this lecture. In the next lecture, we'll be discussing about Thomas More's Utopia in detail. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And please do not forget to comment in the comment box below. Thank you so much and stay safe.